The US Defense Secretary have come out in the open now and basically said that they don't want peace. They want the war to continue in order to weaken Russia. And they are the ones fanning the flames. They see an opportunity to open up a market, obviously, for their filthy fracked gas. Their arms industry is happy days because you can't have an arms industry if you don't have an enemy. And big players in the US and Europe are dependent on Russian oil and gas. So they're not going to give that up. So meanwhile, while sections of America want us to bankrupt whole industries in countries like Germany, and the German leadership seem to be willing to go along with that, in America they're continuing to do business because they say, well, sure, we have to. This is our jobs and our economy. We have no choice. I do think that a lot of people in Europe are scratching their heads. They don't know what's going on. They hate to see the destruction in Ukraine, but they're just getting this mantra of we need to send more arms, we need to send more arms, we need to have more sanctions, we need to have more sanctions. But they're not really getting access to critical thought about where is this leading? When did sanctions ever end a war?
Good morning from Nicosia, Cyprus. It is 8 o'clock here on this Monday morning, May 9th, Victory Day in Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine. Den Pobeda, happy Den Pobeda to everyone that is celebrating. Over the weekend, there were also a lot of celebrations commemorating the defeat of Nazism in the collective West. It would have been a great opportunity for the West and Russia to have acknowledged that together they defeated fascism and Nazism, and even for a couple of days to just kind of take a break from all the Russophobia and the sanctions and the rhetoric, and to have just acknowledged that together they defeated the forces of evil. And it was not to be. It didn't happen because instead of acknowledging the role that the Soviet Union played in World War II, the collective West decided to use the day to try and score cheap PR points. And what did they do? For example, you had the Ukraine ambassador in Germany come out with a statement. This is the guy that called Schultz a sulky liver sausage. So he's a real nut job, this guy. The Ukrainian ambassador to Germany is a real head case. Anyway, he said in a statement that it was Ukraine that liberated the West from Nazi Germany. So he's trying to rewrite history. He knows what he's doing. He's trying to be provocative and trying to humiliate Russians on what is a very, very important day for Russians, for Ukrainians, and for Belarusians, and for everyone in what was the Soviet Union. Because we cannot forget that 27 million people died in the Soviet Union when they were fighting the Great Patriotic War, or World War II. So that was the dumb statement from the Ukraine ambassador in Germany. You also had a lot of events which did not allow the Russians or the Belarusians to participate. For example, laying of wreaths in various areas in Europe. They banned the Russians from taking part in those events. Germany, France, etc. Many events said no Russians are allowed, even though without Russia there would have not been a victory in World War II. You also had a very, very cheap and disgusting display of Ukraine PR happening in New York, in Times Square, where they put up a banner, an electric billboard. They put it up in Times Square. I think it was Times Square, where it said May 9, Day of Victory, and they scratched out like victory, and they put like Day of Shame. And you could see like the Ukraine trident in the bottom right-hand corner. So this was probably done by the very, very powerful and very rich Ukraine lobby in the United States, which is the same lobby that smeared Trump and supported Hillary Clinton and pushed Russiagate and Ukrainegate That lobby is very, very powerful. The number one donors to the Clinton Foundation, not Saudi Arabia, but it was the Ukrainian lobby. So, getting past all of that, I do wish everyone in Russia, in Ukraine, and in Belarus a good Den Победы, a good victory day. And I'm sure that you're going to be participating in parades and events, and the world does thank you. The world does thank you for the sacrifice that you made. And I also say the world thanks all of those who fought in the collective West as well. In the United States, in the UK, in France, in all of the countries in Europe that fought together to defeat the Nazis. And so, saying all of that and getting past the PR spin, we're going to have to talk about PR and optics, because over the weekend, it was a blitzkrieg. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but it was a blitzkrieg of PR and optics. You had Dr. Jill Biden showing up in a small little town in the southwest of Ukraine, very close to the border with Slovakia. And Dr. Jill made an appearance there to meet with Olena, I think it's Olena or Olenka Zelensky, the wife of the clown puppet leader who wears high heels, Zelensky. And she's there in this border town, and Dr. Jill Biden came to visit her. Zelensky's wife said that this was a very courageous act. Dr. Jill said that she wanted to come and visit Zelensky's wife on Mother's Day to show that the United States stands with Ukraine. And this was just a PR stunt. This was a pure PR stunt. They selected Mother's Day on purpose. They sent Dr. Jill Biden on purpose because they can't send Joe Biden just yet. And this was just all a PR stunt in order to buy Biden some time before he makes his way to Ukraine to kiss the ring of Zelensky. Because, as I've said in many videos, visiting Zelensky is very much a struggle session for these world leaders. They have to go and visit Zelensky, who is the proxy for the globalist cabal. He is the proxy that world leaders need to visit and need to bow down to and need to pledge allegiance to. And sooner or later, Joe Biden is going to make his way to Ukraine, but he needs preparation. They need to pump him up with whatever drugs they pump him up with, and it just takes time to get him prepared for such a long trip. So in the meantime, they sent Dr. Jill. And Dr. Jill, to be honest, is the brains behind the Biden crime family. So for her visiting Ukraine is kind of makes sense. I mean, she is the person who is running the show of the Biden crime family, though the Biden crime family is a little lower on the ladder than the Obama or the Clintons. But still, Dr. Jill is the person who's really pulling the strings behind Potato Head Joe. So Joe's going to make his way to Ukraine one of these days. But as they prepare Joe with whatever meds they give him, Dr. Jill was there to buy some time. And not only, and this was unannounced as well, because now the trend amongst world leaders in the collective West when it comes to Ukraine is to make unannounced trips to Ukraine. That's the cool thing to do, by the way. And everyone's going to Kiev, so book your tickets, everyone, because all the cool kids, they're in Kiev. And so you had another unannounced visit from a world leader. Who else but Justin Trudeau? Justin Trudeau popped into Kiev to meet with Zelensky, to pledge his allegiance to the clown puppet leader who wears high heels. And Trudeau went there. He visited the suburbs of Kiev, and he also raised the Canadian flag of the embassy in Kiev. In other words, he reopened the Canadian embassy in Kiev, and he made some statement, one of your typical canned statements that Canada stands stands strong with Ukraine, and as we fight Russia and the forces of evil, stuff like that. I've started to tune out their canned statements, because that's what they are. They're just scripted canned statements. But Trudeau was there, and he did his little tour in the suburbs of Kiev, and he bowed down to Zelensky, the whole thing, and the whole dog and pony show. And so now he can go back to Canada and check that off his list of globalist obligations. Trudeau's gone through his struggle session with Ukraine, and he's now kissed the ring of the proxy globalist puppet. And it's crazy, man. Everyone is showing up in Kiev. This is the weirdest war in the world. This is just so bizarre. And all of these leaders are doing this on a weekend when it's a commemoration of the defeat of the NAZIs. And all of these leaders, I don't know if you can call Dr. Jill a leader, but anyway, all of these dignitaries, Dr. Jill and Trudeau, can you call Trudeau a leader? They all show up in Kiev unannounced, and they pledge allegiance to Zelensky, who's being puppeted by globalists and Azov NAZIs. That's the whole absurdity of all of this. It's during a time when all of Europe, all of the entire world, the US, Canada, the entire planet should be commemorating the defeat of Nazism. You have these world leaders going to bow down to those very forces that were defeated in World War II. Anyway, you had another unannounced visit, and this is the clown world. I just have to bump up the clown world, because you had another unannounced visit to Kiev, and this was from Bono and the Edge of U2. And so Zelensky invited them to Kiev to do a show in like a bunker, a metro station / bunker, something like that. And U2, or at least two members of U2, Larry and Adam, the drummer and the bassist, I guess, passed up on the invitation. But Bono and Edge, they said, yeah, we'll come to Kiev and do a show. And so they did. And they showed up in this bunker, and they belted out their hits like Sunday Bloody Sunday, and what else did they sing? With or Without You, and Desire, and all of these classic U2 rock songs. They played some music with another Ukrainian, like a Ukrainian band or a Ukraine singer from the band called Anatolia or something like that. I forgot the name. And Bono made some statements like, Ukraine is not only fighting for our freedom, but they're fighting for the freedom of the world. Keep in mind, this is on a weekend commemorating the defeat of NAZI Germany, and U2 pop up to support Zelensky and the Azov guys and Right Sector and Dmitry Yarosh and the Adar Battalion. U2 is going there on a weekend which should be about the defeat of Nazism, to support these guys. You know, let me just put it plain and simple. You know that you're on the right side of history when you're supporting the forces that are against globalists like Bono and the Edge. So yeah, you know that when Bono and the Edge show up somewhere, well, you know that that they're involved in the globalist racket. I'm sure that George Soros and Klaus Schwab, they told Bono and Edge, look, get your butts to Kiev right now and perform a show. And Bono and Edge said, yes, sir. Yes, sir, we'll be there. And so they jumped on a plane, and there they were, singing in the bunkers of Kiev. That is the absolute clown show of clown shows. I mean, a real clown show. So that's what happened over the weekend in Ukraine. All PR, all optics, and that's the definition of the war that Ukraine is fighting. It's all PR and optics. The counteroffensive in Kharkov is PR and optics. Whether you believe that Russia retreated for tactical reasons, for strategic reasons, whether you believe that it was a a freezing, pinning operation, a probing, or that Russia really did lose some tactical battles. It doesn't matter. What happened in Kharkov is not important, because I was on Twitter and I'm like reading all the tweets from so many people saying, yeah, Ukraine is now making its way to the Russian border. They're marching to the Russian border. And I was just like reading these tweets going, and so what? What exactly is the Ukraine military going to do if they actually make it to the Russian border up north? And then what? They're gonna invade Russia? This this group of Ukraine fighters is what? They're gonna go into Russia? Where can they go? They can't go north. They can't go south because that's all Russia as well. Where do they go? So that's why the whole thing with Kharkov was all PR and all optics. The Snake Island Part 2, PR and optics. Ukraine decided that they're going to launch this big military counteroffensive on Snake Island, and they suffered heavy losses, like really bad losses. But they thought they were going to get some sort of PR win by taking back Snake Island. And they thought they were going to do it on Victory Day and all of these things, and they failed. And all of these distractions were done to take away from the real fighting in the Donbass. Popasnaya. That was the real big news. And so the entire war that Ukraine is waging it's all being done on a PR and optics level. Meanwhile, the real fighting in Donbass is being won by the Russians, but it's costing the lives of many young Ukrainian men, and it's horrible what's happening. But Zelensky's spinning PR while his own citizens, his own countrymen, are dying for no reason. While Bono sits in Kiev singing "Sunday Bloody Sunday," give me an effing break. Give me an effing break. Or they put up billboards in Times Square. Anyway, I think I'll leave this there. This video is going to be a short video. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the PR and the optics spin that we saw this weekend, because it was heavy. Boy, was it heavy. Unannounced visits to Kiev. That's the new cool thing to do. Trying to think, do I have anything else? I don't have anything else. I'll leave it there, everyone. theduran.locals.com. Take care.